Remind you to please silence your cell phones. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Plan Commission meeting of October 16th. First order of business is to call the roll. Commissioner Speyer will be absent tonight. Commissioner Black?
Here.
Commissioner Scott Berman?
Here.
Commissioner Franklin?
Here.
Commissioner Gibiyahu?
Here.
Commissioner Witry?
Here.
Commissioner Jeff Berman?
Aye. Here.
Commissioner Matei?
Here.
And I am present. So we do have a quorum. First order of business is to ratify the meetings for the last meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the meetings?
So moved.
Any corrections or additions to the minutes? None? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes have been approved, thank you. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two cases tonight. And before I begin, there is a sign-up sheet for those who wish to speak and have comments about each case. Sign-up is not mandatory, it's preferred, so if anybody wants to speak and wish to sign up, the sheet is up here. And those who would like a copy of tonight's meeting minutes and everything, just also give us your email address, we'll send you copies. And also, we will notify you when these cases go before the Board of Trustees. First case tonight is for the 5050 Church Street, a request for a special use permit to allow a religious assembly use in a B2 commercial zoning district. Site plan approval for the expansion of the existing building, a new facade, and dedicated west entrance, minor landscaping, parking lot, striping modifications, and a parking determination for the proposed use. Is the petitioner ready? Oh, excuse me, the staff ready?
Yes.
Staff is ready? And
Correct.
Counselor, is the notice in order for this case?
Yes, notice is proper and correct.
Thank you very much. Michael, please.
Good evening, Commissioners and Chairman Luke. I'm presenting three cases tonight for 5050 Church Street. Case 2025-16P is a special use permit for religious assembly. Case 2025-17P is site plan approval. And case 2025-18P is the parking determination. I will be presenting the cases in the order of site plan, then parking determination, and then special use permit.
Okay, very good.
So the request is being generated by a proposal to, construct an addition at the east end of this existing portion of the building, which was the former pool that was occupied by the JCC when it was in the building from the late 60s until about mid-2010s. The church purchased the property, commenced operations around 2022 with services, and those services are currently held in the building's gymnasium right now. The intention is to relocate the congregation assembly space from the gymnasium into a renovated portion of the building here with a 1,500 square foot addition on the end. And I will show you the floor plans as we move through the slides here. So this is a view of the building looking to the north from Church Street. The portion that's going to have the addition is not visible from this angle. We do see on this photo, this is location right now consists of a playground that's walled on two sides, and the addition will be built off of that wall that's facing us in the photo here. On the the west facade of the area where the church will be constructed, we're looking at the wall here. There will be a new facade with a tower, staircase, and an elevator that will provide access to a second floor mezzanine, and then a portico with an entrance to the church space itself. So here's the existing site plan showing parking as it currently is laid out. Under the proposal, the entrance to the new worship space is at the northwest corner of the building. There is a loss of, I believe, 6 parking spaces over here, but there will be accessible parking added in this area, and we also, further in the report, we have recommendations for additional accessible space. No modifications being made to the striping of the parking that exists right now. On the south side of the building, 2 of these accessible spaces will be relocated over to the area near the entrance of the new assembly space. This is a view of the existing first floor plan, and that salmon color is the existing pool that will be filled in and leveled off. And you can see the addition being added to the bottom, the east side of that pool space. Second floor of the building right now contains a lot of office spaces and classrooms, and there's a balcony that looks over onto the pool deck. And so with the addition, there will be some additional hallway areas next to that. I think there's going to be a choir space. And so coming in off of the portico, you can go upstairs via the elevator, and there's a mezzanine at the west end of the new church gathering area. No other modifications are being made to the second floor or the first floor as part of this proposal. It's all taking place where the pool is right now and where the addition will be built. This is a layout of the first floor of the church. There's a sacristy in the addition, the altar, and then on the left-hand side is kind of the covered area where the mezzanine is, and then the entrance with the elevator being constructed over here, and then a staircase constructed over at the northwest corner of the building. And this is a view of the second floor with the mezzanine on the left-hand side. And then the circular shape we're seeing on the right-hand side is just a visual of the ceiling, where there will be a dome on the rooftop. And landscape-wise, the petitioner will be enhancing the landscaping at the site. When they first came through to Plan Commission, I believe back in 2018, 2019, they did address some landscaping issues, but there is definitely room for additional trees to be planted. And so we're recommending trees to be added in this island closest to the south side of the building. We're also requesting that trees be added within this landscape island adjacent to the public sidewalk on Church Street. This is their ground sign. That's going to remain unchanged, same location. Some additional trees will be planted within the parkway along Lawler Avenue. And there's a row of, I believe, poplar trees here. Some are in decline, and so staff has recommended that some of those be replaced as they die out with some newer types of plantings to maintain a screening buffer next to the ComEd property that's to the west. These are the elevations of the church. So entrance, the west elevation is the entrance, 2 domes, and then we're seeing the dome in the background which is on the east side. So this dome back here, and you see it right here, this is the addition, and then the dome built above that. And the height is allowable up to 35 feet in a B2 when adjacent to an R2 zoning district with the special use that's being granted for the religious assembly. This is the north elevation, so we're looking south from Emerson Park at the north wall of the building. And so for case 2025-17P, staff recommends that the petitioner's request for a site plan approval amendment be approved, subject to the recommended conditions and proposed findings of fact, and that the current site plan approval, Village Ordinance 1910Z 4496, be repealed. Proposed findings of fact for this case: the request will be harmonious with and will not adversely affect adjacent properties as long as the conditions for site plan approval are met. The request will have adequate facilities, including roads, drainage, utilities, and police and fire protection, which exist or will exist to serve the requested use at the time such facilities are needed. The request will have adequate provisions for maintenance of the associated structures. No adverse effects on the natural environment are anticipated. By providing additional landscaping both on-site and within Lawler Avenue Parkway, the petitioner is reflecting the green space and trees plan strategy identified in Skokie's environmental sustainability plan. It is not anticipated that the request will create undue traffic congestion, as the petitioner has entered into an agreement with another organization in the village who will provide a parking lot for overflow parking when needed. Public health, safety, and welfare will not be adversely affected by the request, and the request will conform to all applicable provisions of this code. Recommended conditions for site plan approval: the petitioner shall develop the subject property in substantial conformance with the final village-approved proposed site plan, proposed full first floor plan, proposed full second floor plan, proposed church first floor plan, proposed church second floor plan, tree survey and planting plan, and elevations. Prior to the hearing of the case before the Board of Trustees, the petitioner shall revise the site plan to A, relocate the two westernmost accessible parking spaces from the south side of the building and place them directly across from the proposed ramp that is adjacent to the new entrance to the church. Depict all bicycle parking spaces as having a single rack centered lengthwise between each 2-foot by 6-foot bicycle parking space. Relocate the bicycle racks that are proposed to be installed within the island to the south of the new church entrance so that they are not in conflict with the existing electrical transformer boxes. And depict a second rack centered within the 2-foot by 6-foot bicycle parking spaces. Remove the unused concrete pedestal from the west end of the western landscape island to the south of the driveway running along the south side of the building and replace with an additional Kentucky coffee tree. Prior to the issuance of an occupancy permit, the petitioner shall remove the row of non-compliant bike racks from the south side of the building. The theater, the fellowship hall, and the gymnasium shall be prohibited from being used during church services. The petitioner shall provide 30 days written notice to the village of any changes to the parking lot use agreement. The honey locust tree closest to the proposed addition shall be root pruned prior to any excavation activity. Parking lot and exterior lighting shall meet IES standards, be full cutoff design, and be directed away from the adjacent properties, subject to the approval of the engineering division. All existing damaged public sidewalks or sidewalks damaged due to the implementation of this plan shall be replaced. The proposed development shall have a minimum of 178 off-street vehicle parking spaces, including 9 accessible parking spaces, and a minimum of 9 bicycle parking spaces as indicated on the proposed site plan. The petitioner shall sign an agreement for installation and maintenance of landscaping to assure that the subject property and parkway landscaping is completed and maintained, including trimming, watering, and replacing of dead plant materials in a timely manner, in accordance with the final approved landscape plan. A copy of said agreement is to be made part of the ordinance to go before the Board of Trustees and shall be recorded at the petitioner's expense. The petitioner shall submit to the Planning Division electronic files of the site, landscape, and floor plans in their approved and finalized form. And now on to case 2025-18P, parking determination. Staff recommends that the Plan Commission determine the off-street parking requirement for the proposed Mar Sargis Parish at 5050 Church Street to be 178 vehicle parking spaces, and 9 bicycle parking spaces. This determination is not transferable to another religious assembly use or other congregation. And for case 2025-16P, special use permit, staff recommends that the petitioner's request for a special use permit for religious assembly use at 5050 Church Street in a B2 commercial zoning district be approved, subject to the recommended conditions and proposed findings of fact, and that the current, this should say that the current special use permit, Village Ordinance 1910Z 4497 be repealed. So with case for special use permit, the church has 300 right now. There's a limit of 300 persons, and that number, as per the church, will be staying the same as they move from the gymnasium space into their new congregation space. Proposed positive findings of fact. The religious assembly is identified in the comprehensive plan as a type of limited service use that complements the subject site's single-family detached residential and other residential designations in the land use plan. The relocation of the existing religious assembly use into a different part of the building will not adversely affect adjacent properties. The existing religious assembly use is currently compatible with the existing uses of adjacent properties and will remain compatible after its relocation. Adequate public facilities, including roads, drainage, utilities, and police and fire protection, currently exist to serve the requested use. The request will have adequate provisions for maintenance of the associated structures. No adverse effects on the natural environment are anticipated. It is not anticipated that the request will create undue traffic congestion, as the petitioner has entered in an agreement with another organization in the village who will provide a parking lot for overflow parking when needed. Public health, safety, and welfare will not be adversely affected by the request. All applicable provisions of this code are conformed to by this request. And then going back to the agreement, there's a shuttle bus which will transport people, parishioners, between the subject site and the, I believe it's the NC site over at 9131 Nile Center Road. That's the corner of Nile Center Road and Church Street. There is a large parking lot over there, and the agreement states that they are allowing 100 parking spaces to be allotted during times of heavy need when the site is being used for services, for special events, and for larger holidays, where there be a larger grouping of people coming in. I believe the agreement was drafted between the two parties in July and is now currently in effect. Recommended conditions for the special use permit case. The petitioner shall develop the subject property in substantial conformance with the final village approved plans per the ordinance number to be determined. The maximum seating capacity in the worship area shall be limited to 300 seats. Any increase in the seating capacity or the overall area that the religious assembly use occupies shall require an amendment to the special use permit through the full public hearing process. Any change in user to another religious group shall require an application for a new special use permit, including public hearings. The petitioner shall submit to the Planning Division electronic files of the site, landscape, and floor plans in their approved and finalized form. And that concludes my presentation for 5500 Church Street.
Any questions of the staff about 3 cases we have before us for case 2025, 16P, 17P, and 18P? Commissioner Berman.
Mike, could you reconcile the quantity of seats that is moving from 300 used elsewhere in the building to now 300 in the new space, the parking allotment,
Yes.
the restriction that the staff is suggesting on using other areas of the building, including the already existing gymnasium and theater, for additional use, and simultaneously the necessity for overflow parking if everything fits as it does now and would fit in the future if the same 300 seats just move from one part of the building to another. So when you suggest that there could be some overflow event that would create this need for extra parking, you simultaneously restricted that overflow event elsewhere in the building and said it couldn't be done. You said people cannot use in the future the theater or the gymnasium.
Right.
So tell us how that reconciles.
Right, so when the church originally came to the Plan Commission in 2019, similar concerns, probably, I believe, from the commission, possibly from parties in the neighborhood. There was a concern that, say, we have a gathering taking place in one space and a gathering at the same time. And so that's where we put the cap on 300, and at that time, there was just a cap on, I believe, the fellowship hall as being restricted. Also, at that time, I don't believe there was any agreement in place. There was no other property that could provide a relief valve for overflow parking. There was concerns from the neighborhood that cars would be parking in along Lawler Avenue and other areas. And so as they've come back, and I think as they've learned how the church has operated from 2022 to present, they understand themselves that there is a need to have this overflow parking, and we don't want to further that problem by having multiple events happening, nor do they plan on having multiple events happening. So we want to just assure, from the village's standpoint, that the church is being used, and there may be some classroom activity with children, like Sunday school. Those are not drivers, they'll just be dropped off, and the parents will go to the mass. But we want to assure that the gym won't be in use for like a basketball league, or the theater won't be in use for other meetings that would further put pressure on the parking that is needed by the facility.
But again, just so reconcile for us that requirement that the other spaces not be used for assembly, and yet the need that the village thinks there is for the overflow in some other place. Why would there ever be the need for overflow in another place if we've restricted the use to 300?
We base it off of, I think it's 1 per 2.7 parking spaces. I mean, typically it's, in the past for religious assembly, it's been 1 per 4, but you have to take into account that there will be maybe individuals, one person arriving in a car, and there's just the factor of having that additional overflow. We cap it at 300. I mean, we're going off of what the congregation is mentioning to us as what they believe the capacity is for that gathering space. But I guess there are some peak times when they must hit that 300 max, and there are more drivers coming in than what the parking lot can accommodate. They do have attendants in place to direct people and also indicate that the parking lot is full, and they're directing people to utilize that shuttle service for that overflow need. Now, the fellowship hall may also have an event where there might be more than 300 people. Then there may be a wedding. There may be staff coming in to help out with that, catering services. And so when that space is used, you may have more than that number of people as well.
And again, reminding us of the last couple times we've seen this building, there is no restriction, there are no permits on the side streets adjacent.
There's permit parking on the east side of Lawler. I can give you the number, it's in my report. It's certain hours of the day, it's not 24/7. I believe, and then on the west side of Lawler, there are no longer any restrictions. I believe engineering has removed any restrictions from that. They've widened the street. There were restrictions in the wintertime because the plow could not, I guess, clear the street with cars parked on both sides. They've pulled the curb further to the west on Lawler. And so starting this winter, there will no longer be temporary restrictions on parking along the west side of Lawler.
But the full width of Lawler is available, even though the east side has some restrictions and permits, but the west side does not, which could have a
Right.
capacity of another
Right.
conceivable 20, 30 cars.
And that's a newer situation where, during wintertime in the past, that was restricted, no parking along there. I mean, you've got visitors to Emerson Park to the north as well, and they also utilize mainly the west side of Lawler as well.
Okay.
When the JCC was there up until, 7-10 years ago, they presumably also utilized the west side of Lawler for any overflow parking. They had an active health club there. They had a theater there that had, programming, summer camps. So both were high-intensity uses. And yes, there is some parking on Lawler.
Okay, a question on this side. Commissioner Berman first, and Commissioner Matei.
Mike, I know we've done this before, but in terms of off-site parking and shuttles and all that stuff, do we verify that there in fact is a contract, and what's the duration of the contract, and what stipulations there is if the contract were to expire, what won't be allowed anymore under the use?
Yes, the petitioner has submitted an agreement with us. They are, the provider, the off-site provider, is to give the petitioner a 30-day notice. And then we also have a condition that they notify us 30 days in advance if this agreement is no longer in place.
Okay. And one of the comments,
Oh, sorry.
one more, I'm sorry. One of the comments that we've got in terms of written comments is that already there's some traffic issues when there's cars required to line up for some type of funeral or other processional. You know, what kind of limitations or protections can we put in place for that?
Yeah. And not only is that been observed by that particular business, I observed on street parking on Church Street this past Sunday. I happened to just be driving my child over to skating at the stadium, and there were cars parked along both sides of Church Street where no parking is allowed, and cars were also parked where our compost pile is. And I've brought that to the attention of the petitioner. That is definitely not permitted. And I am, hoping that the petitioner takes that into account and enforces that their parishioners have to utilize the shuttle service that is over at 9131 Nile Center Road, because there are concerns with parking where parking is not permitted.
Yeah, I mean, this business is saying that people are parking in his lot, too.
Yeah.
And so we have to make some provision that can be enforced, correct?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of signage, it's a matter of announcing to the congregation during services or on their website. It's a matter of having the parking lot attendants who monitor the main parking lot to ensure that the parishioners are not coming out of the parking lot immediately parking on church or parking somebody else's property. And if it comes to enforcement with police, it has to be handled that way. But we hope that the petitioner is able to communicate that this is not permitted, and that they have to utilize the shuttle and utilize the agreement that they now have in place with the ANSI property over on Nile Center Road and Church Street, because parking on somebody else's property is unacceptable.
Thank you.
Two questions, Mike. One is the size of the elevator car. It's a standard car, so in other words, for life safety.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's an existing elevator in that building?
Not over there. There might be one interior to the building. It's hard to sell on this, but I believe there is one in place, because it is a two-story building, serving a lot of people. But this elevator where it's being proposed is a new elevator that would mainly be functioning for access to the mezzanine of the
Second floor.
congregation
Got it.
space. Yeah.
The other question was related to, they are the only tenant. They don't lease to another religious organization also uses it. They're a single sole tenant, correct?
That's correct. The Marsarges Parish is the only tenant, and the petitioner is the organization that utilizes that entire building.
In receipt of a letter from a house of rental, and one of his complaints he cites here is at times of a funeral service, there's heavy traffic and heavy number of cars attending the funeral. Do you know if the shuttle service is working then during those periods?
Yeah, I read the shuttle service plan, and it is effective for mass time, holidays, any special events, which I would believe would be a funeral or a wedding, and any large gatherings. So they are to utilize that shuttle service anytime, basically, when they can anticipate that there's going to be a higher need for parking than what can be met on site.
In case they anticipate a large turnout for a funeral.
Right.
Okay.
And it's spelled out in the agreement that.
Okay. My other question, well, Yeah, the agreement, so with that agreement, if they have a funeral during the week, are in the agreement, are they allowed to use the space there during the week?
I believe so. I believe it's any time, it doesn't restrict it just to weekends. It's
Okay.
anytime there's a large event.
All right.
Let me pull up that
Sure.
agreement very quick, just to make sure I'm quoting it correctly, but I have it in here.
Yeah, while you're looking for that, my final question is, have you been inside the church? I mean, have you inspected it yourself?
No, I have not been in there recently. I was in there when the property had just been vacated by the JCC.
Okay.
But,
I was concerned of the seating, are they permanent, are they have pews, they have chairs, anything permanently attached, or they're movable, do you know?
The floor plan, it seems to indicate pews.
Okay, I'll ask petitioner when
Yeah,
it
I would
comes up.
just verify with the petitioner, but
Sure.
yeah, I mean, that looks like a pew configuration. I don't know how it's configured right now inside the
Okay.
gymnasium, if it's movable
All right.
seats or pews.
We'll ask the petitioner when it comes up. Yes, Commissioner,
The agreement, it seems like it's self-enforcement. In other words, the pastor or the priest or whatever will announce to his congregation, don't park there, don't park here, et cetera. Now, we're assuming good faith, and I think that good faith is required. What if there are serial violations of the parking? And how, the gentleman from the House of Rental comes forward, what is his recourse? What does he do? Does he call the police? Does he come to you and say, you got to revoke the permit or whatever? Or what's his remedy?
I think if it's on private property, I don't think the police can enforce that. Definitely what I observed this past Sunday on public property, on Church Street, parking on both sides, that's a police matter, because it's clearly signed as a no parking zone. I know it's under construction right now, it's being resurfaced, but parking is not permitted on Church Street along the sides of the street. As far as private property, that would be, if we continue to get these complaints, that becomes a warning that we would have to send as enforcement to the church itself. And then if it comes to ticketing, we have to issue tickets, so, as a means of correcting this matter.
any other questions? Commissioner Franklin?
You mentioned recently, Sunday, I believe you said you were driving by, and that's when all the people were parking on Church Street.
Yes.
Microphone.
Oh, sorry. You were, and everyone was parked on, many cars were parked on Church Street.
Correct.
Was this agreement in effect then? Because I think you said July, and were there parking attendants, and perhaps why did they not take advantage of the shuttle service?
The attendants were present, they had fluorescent vests on. I observed it at about 11 o'clock in the morning during church time. This is the only time I've been past there while service has been present. I don't know how it's, what the situations have been in other weekends or even during the weekdays, but I personally observed it. The agreement, as you stated, and as I also mentioned in my report, it has been in effect since July. So it took me by surprise. And I believe that it's just a communication matter, that the pastor or other heads need to emphasize that this agreement is in place and that you are to utilize it, as good neighbors of the community, so.
Just one,
I'd like to bring the petitioner up, so if you have could we hold your question?
I have one more thing.
Okay.
For Mike and for the rest of the commission. We have taken notice in the past that our police department does not want to ticket religious assemblies, especially during events, whether they be a funeral at Chicago Jewish at Skokie Boulevard or this event. So that Dick's question about whether this is a police matter along Church Street, it probably is, and yet we in the village, I think, don't want our police ticketing people that come to a solemn event like funeral. So we have to all understand that this came up actually in this case also 10 years ago because of the Lawler permit parking issue and which side had permits and which did not. And we said, well, it's really not nice. It's not neighborly of us to ticket those assembled cars. And that's why I think Mike is stressing so much that we're going to rely on the petitioner and their pastor to make those announcements.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, okay, one last
Very-
question.
Steve, I'm concerned more about serial violations. not the one-time or two-time, what have you, but if there were serial violations, what is the recourse of, for example, the objector? That's my inquiry.
I can address some of this. So, unfortunately, people violate our rules about parking. It's gonna happen. They see a spot, they see the door they wanna walk in, and they really wanna park there. And they really, really wanna park there. And the parking attendant doesn't wanna say the one person who's parking there has to go 3 blocks over and take a bus. They don't wanna do those kinds of things. And then all of a sudden, there's 15 people doing it, and then they got a problem on their hands. And so, it's like a little puddle that gets bigger when people start to park in places they're not supposed to. So in my experience, when we find this out, so it was very fortuitous that Mr. Wojtek was driving past on a Sunday non-work day. We discussed this in the office, and I think we're going to keep our eye on it over the coming week, and put it on our paper route and milk route to visit these places over the next few weeks. And so as we move forward, whatever the recommendation of this body is, as we move forward to the village board, you certainly will rest assured that the staff will have a better sense if the parking is violated. Going forward in the previous weeks, they've been made aware that they are not to park that way, and if we see it again, that's going to spell problems when we take this to the village board. It's going to be harder for us to maintain a recommendation of this, to do it this way. So, unfortunately, we have this in other groups and spaces that have parking agreements where they're trying to pack a lot of people in, and then they have to go off-site. Correction letters, we have a conversation, we explain what's going on, we sit down with them, and often it's, our head of security just changed, or the parking attendant just started last week. We'll make sure they know. We'll message it in our newsletter. And the nice thing is, the same people should usually show up every interval of worship. So they learn the habit. But right now, there may be a group of people that are in the habit of parking on Church Street, or parking on Lawler, or parking, unfortunately, on private property. And so I suspect, given everything that has just happened tonight, and all this discussion and concern, and Mr. Wojtek's previous relayance to the petitioner, that I don't think we're going to see people parking on Church Street on Sunday, or any other day in the near future.
Okay. Thank you for that clarity, Director Nyland. At this point, let's bring the petitioner up, and we can continue the parking issue with him. Is that agreeable to everybody? Okay, Mike, you said you're finished with your presentation?
Yes.
All right. Is the petitioner here tonight? Please come up. Good evening, and who else is coming up to the podium?
We can come up, we've got construction.
Yeah,
manager
have
here.
everybody come up, please. Okay. Can I have your name, please?
My name is Al Una. I represent the board for the Illinois Diocese of the Assyrian Church of the East.
Okay, sir, can I have your name? Could you,
My name is Ron.
no,
Cohen.
into the microphone for the record?
My name is Ron Cohen, and I'm the attorney for the church.
Okay, very good. Sir?
My name is Edward Denabi. I'm the engineer, project manager on the project.
Okay, those who are not members of the court, please raise your hand. Sir, I'm going to swear you in. Do you affirm that the testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, first of all, why don't we go over your tell us about, the addition, and then we'll get back to the parking issues, okay?
Sure. So the addition is basically, as staff mentioned, basically taking it out of the play area, and that's for the actual sanctuary itself. We're relocating, as you know, from the old gym, which we turned into a temporary sanctuary, to the old pool area, and that's where our new sanctuary is going to be. Same congregation, and we realize sometimes parking is an issue. Director Knight has said that. Commissioner Black has said that. You're right. If one person sees it, everybody else follows. We have many attendants out there trying to shuttle them to the other places. And before Commissioner Black said something about the police, we were actually just texting each other saying, perhaps we better get a policeman out there to ticket. Maybe that could be a warning to not do it again. Rather than a fine, maybe you put a warning on there, so people get the message. We're trying to be good neighbors. We have been good neighbors. We try to follow the rules in terms of beautification of the site. We've spent a considerable amount of money updating fire alarm, lighting, et cetera, et cetera. And we've been very good neighbors to the people on the east side of Lola, where they've had resurfacing issues. We've said you can park in our place. I think we got a neighbor who asked if she could park as many as 7 cars because they were having some work done. We said yes. ComEd also parks over there. And I'm trying to remember another, Weber have also said if we've got an overflow of special events, can we park in your area? We said absolutely, just let us know when and where. So in closing, it's something that we've worked on since we purchased this place in 2018 from JCC, and we look forward to your favorable approval. I'll take any questions.
Yes, any questions of Commissioner Yes,
Just an observation that, as I said before, the parking agreement, the shuttle agreement, it's a matter of good faith. And to be enforced, as Ms. Needham said, you know, people get used to going here and there, but it's up to you to remind your parishioners, if you will, that there are parking constraints, there are neighbors, and that we would expect you to fulfill the obligations that you have undertaken with the shuttle agreement. That's all.
Thank you.
One question, getting back to the pews, are they fixed?
No.
Or are they movable?
They're movable.
They're movable,
Yeah.
okay. So you can rearrange them and have like an open space?
Yeah,
or-
yeah,
Okay.
they're movable. And even in the temporary church, they're removable because we didn't want to screw them down and ruin the
Okay,
gym floor.
very good. Any other questions of the petitioner? None? Okay,
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
thank you. At this point in the meeting, is there anyone out here in the audience who wish to question or comment on this case? Please come up. As you come up, each person who is speaking will be given 3 minutes to speak. Anyone? Yes, please come up. Right after you give us your name, we will start the clock.
My name is Donald Babender, and I live on 9300 Laverne.
Okay.
Since we've had new neighbors, the church, most of the time, we've had no problem parking in front of our home. On several occasions, though, there is no parking up or down Laverne because people are going to church, and that's a problem. But it's a problem for us who live there and need a parking space, because I'm no longer a youngster, and therefore I need it, not crippled so I don't deserve a handicap spot, but I like consideration. And what I've heard so far, there has not been too much consideration for the parking on the streets around and concurrent to the church.
Okay, thank you. We'll take that under consideration. Anyone else? Please come up. No one? Okay. Could I have the petitioner come up again, please? So you've listened to the staff report, and you've gone through everything, and you looked at the recommended conditions of use. Do you have any questions or comments or issues with the staff report?
No, I thought it was very inclusive and to the point.
Okay,
So, full report was
All right.
great.
very good, thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, I'll be open for a motion. I have, 3 motions. Each case we'll have to have a vote on each case. So case 2025-16P, special use permit for a religious assembly at 5050 Church Avenue, Church Street.
I move to approve. The first one is the site approval or the first one?
This is the special use.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Scott Berman, Commissioner Witry, no further discussions. Call for the vote. Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Scott Berman?
Aye.
Commissioner Franklin?
Aye.
Commissioner Giviahu?
Aye.
Commissioner Witry?
Aye.
Commissioner Jeff Berman? Commissioner Matei?
Aye.
Now vote aye. On the site plan approval, also at 5050 Church Street, do I have a motion?
I will move.
Commissioner and Commissioner Giviahu will second.
Move to approve.
I move to approve.
Okay. Commissioner Black,
Aye.
Commissioner Scott Berman.
Aye.
Commissioner Franklin,
Aye.
Commissioner Giviahu,
Aye.
Commissioner Witry,
Aye.
Commissioner Jeff Berman, Commissioner Matei, now vote aye. On case 2025-18P, which is the parking determination for a religious assembly. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Commissioner Matei. Do I have a second? Commissioner Jeff Berman, thank you. Call for the vote. Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Scott Berman.
Aye.
Commissioner Franklin.
Aye.
Commissioner Giviahu.
Aye.
Commissioner Witry.
Aye.
Commissioner Jeff Berman.
Aye.
Commissioner Matei. And I'll vote aye. Now, cases 2025, 16 and 17P will need further approval by the Board of Trustees. They meet on the first and third Monday of every month. Case 2025-18P, which is a parking determination, that is, we have the final vote on that. That will not go before the board. This is final. Okay, thank you. Next case tonight is case 2025-15P, special use permit, a request for a special use permit for a limited service restaurant located in a B1 service commercial zoning district. Is the petitioner here tonight? Oh, excuse me, I keep forgetting, moved around. The staff. Jose, thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners and Chairman Luke. I'd like to ask that the staff report be accepted into the record as written.
Yes, so granted.
Case 2025-15P is a request for a special use permit to allow a limited service restaurant at 3358 Main Street, located in the B1 Service Commercial District. The petitioner proposes to expand the existing carry-out restaurant and catering uses to include seating for 16 patrons. This aerial map highlights the subject property, which includes an existing multi-tenant commercial building with off-street parking areas located both at the front and rear of the building. The site is accessible via bike lanes along Main Street and also benefits from available on-street parking along Kimball Avenue. This is the proposed site plan for the subject property. As shown, there are no changes proposed to the building footprint. The majority of the modifications are interior improvements to accommodate the proposed restaurant use. However, the site has recently undergone several exterior upgrades, including a newly seal-coated and restriped parking lot, and the installation of a new trash enclosure, which is required for all food service establishments in the village. The proposed floor plan includes interior modifications to the existing reception area to add customer seating. The petitioner is proposing a total of 16 seats, 3 tables with 4 seats each, and 2 tables with 2 seats each. This is the only change being proposed. No other modifications to the layout or use of the space are planned. Staff recommends that the petitioner's request for a special use permit for a limited service restaurant at 3358 Main Street in the B1 Service Commercial District be approved. This recommendation is based upon the proposed positive findings of fact and subject to the recommended condition. And the only recommended condition is that the petitioner shall develop the subject property in substantial conformance with the final village-approved site plan and floor plan. The following are the proposed positive findings of fact for this development. The expansion of an existing food establishment in a business district is consistent with the intended land use of the commercial corridor. The proposed use is harmonious with existing uses as it seeks to expand an established food service operation. The request is for a restaurant expansion, and as such, the current compatibility remains unchanged. Adequate public facilities exist to serve the proposed building, and the subject site is about half a mile from Skokie Fire Station 17. The petitioner has completed site improvements, including the repaving and restriping of the parking lot and the installation of a new garbage corral. No adverse effects on the natural environment are anticipated by this request. Undue traffic congestion will not be created by the request. No deliveries will be made at the subject site. Instead, the business owner does her own wholesale shopping. The proposed use will not adversely affect the public health, safety, and welfare. And the request conforms to all applicable provisions of the village's zoning code. The proposed limited service restaurant is consistent with the intent of the district, which allows restaurants subject to special use approval. And that concludes my presentation, and open for any questions.
Before I open the questions, Counselor, is the notice for this case proper and order?
Yes, notice is proper and correct.
Thank you very much. Any questions of staff? Commissioner Matei, then Commissioner Berman.
Wanted to confirm there are no changes to the kitchen.
That is correct.
Okay. Second piece, this is just taking some unused space at the front of this storefront, which is currently a catering and off-site food business, and just adding these additional 7, 8 tables, 16 people. There's no other changes,
Correct.
and everything is conforming now.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
I hate to be predictable, and it's not packaged food necessarily, but can we, I'm surprised that they aren't there now, and the requirements are in here, but they have waste containers at the, I assume there's 2 entrances, front and rear?
Yes, I believe so, and that is a standard condition. The petitioner would have to comply with that condition as well, so.
Can we put it in as a part of this approval, please? And also the 4-hour requirement in terms of policing the property? Thank you.
Okay, any questions from this side of the, this? Any further questions? Okay. Thank you, Jose.
Of course.
Is the petitioner here tonight? Please come up. Yes. First of all, give us your name.
Ademilola Kayode.
Okay. Raise your hand. Do you affirm that the testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you.
Yes, sir.
Say yes, sir.
Yes,
or no?
sir.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Can you give us a little overview of your request for indoor seating and dining?
My restaurant is called Mrs. K's Kitchen. Presently, I'm doing only catering and Uber Eats and other pickups. So what I'm trying to do is just be able to accommodate more sittings and have like.
And how long have you been operating this business venture?
I've been in Skokie for the past 4 years.
Okay.
I was formerly on Oakton Street, downtown, 4849.
Mm-hmm.
And before I moved to this present location.
I mean, to me, it seems like, seating for 16 seems rather small for a restaurant, but I guess that's your goal, is it right? Just to serve
Well, for now, I'll just do that. I mean, I'm hoping probably in the future to expand.
I mean, well, it's a small space. I just don't see any room for expansion unless you take over a store next to you, but
I don't want to take over.
that's just me asking.
But I think for now, adding a little more seats and, just people more comfortable, because my food is Nigerian and I get a lot of people that want to come in and try it. So it would be nice for people to, families to come in, sit down and.
Now, For the record, could you give us your hours of operation? Will you be serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
We
7 days a
open,
week, or what?
no, we're closed on Mondays.
Okay,
On regular days, we open from 12 noon, that's from Tuesdays to Thursdays. We open from 12 noon to 7. And then on Saturdays and Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, we open at 1 p.m. to 7.
okay. So you're closing at 7, okay.
Yes.
All right.
It's at 7.
You currently have a liquor license?
No, when I was on Oakton, I had a BYOB,
Okay,
but
okay. Excuse me, did you need a BYOB license for that, or?
I'm gonna advise that we not bring up this particular aspect since it's not part
Okay,
of the Plan
that's fine.
Commission's purview.
Okay. Any questions of the petitioner? No? Okay. Thank you very much.
thank you.
At this point, I'll ask any, from anybody in the audience who has a question come up. And does anyone have a comment, question, pertaining to this case? Please come up. No? Okay. And again, could you come back to since there isn't anybody coming up. So you've read the staff report, and the staff recommended the conditions. Do you have any questions? Do you have any problems with meeting any of the requirements?
Not really, no
Okay.
questions. I totally
Totally.
understand.
All right, very good. Thank you. Okay.
Motion to approve.
Yes, I have a motion to approve case 2025-15P, a special use for a limited service restaurant.
Second.
I'm sorry, who-
I move to approve.
You move to approve. Thank you, Commissioner. Second, Commissioner Franklin, thank you. Okay. No further questions, comments. I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Scott Berman?
Aye.
Commissioner Franklin?
Aye.
Commissioner Giviahu?
Aye.
Commissioner Witry? Commissioner Jeff Berman? Commissioner Matei? Now vote aye. Now, this case still has to go before the Board of Trustees for final approval. Good luck to your venture. Yeah, I'm glad you're working in Skokie. I'll have to come in sometime and try a lunch. Thank you. Next case tonight is is case 2025-12P, Plan Development Site Plan Approval. And I believe this is just for okay. Before we have the staff come up, is this notice proper in order for this case? Commissioner?
Yes, notice is proper and correct.
Thank you, Counselor. Okay. And Kate Portillo, please, you're going to present the staff report? Thank you.
Yes. Good evening, Chairperson and Commissioners. I am here before you to present Case 2025-12P, which is a request for a planned development site plan approval from Fulton Street Companies Skokie LLC for the development of 68 residential townhome units at the site located at 4600 Main Street. This, to provide you a little history on this site, it was formerly operating as one campus for the Erie Crown Schools. That entity is now operating a complete campus at a different location in the village. The property is currently vacant, and beginning in 2022, a developer made an application for a preliminary plan review. The site has remained under the ownership of Erie Crown Schools, I should note. So the preliminary review is under their direction. There were cases that came before the Plan Commission in 2023. Those included a subdivision, a map amendment, and also a site plan approval. The property is now exclusively R4 zoning. The subdivision is complete, and the primary outcome of that was that the Kenton Street right-of-way was returned to a full right-of-way. As is sometimes the case in the village, we find that property lines extend into right-of-ways. And so currently, the application that's for you is from Fulton Street Companies, as the previous site plan approval expired, and also that developer folded. So the proposal that comes before you from Fulton Street Companies is substantially similar to what was approved with the previous ordinance. And so there are 68 residential units. 24 of those are intended to be two-bedroom units, and 48 of those are to be three-bedroom units. All of the townhomes have 2 parking spaces, as is required by code. And in addition to that, the site meets the required guest parking. I will quickly show you where you can find, so there's guest parking up in this area, which includes 1 EV charger. There's guest parking in this area, which includes an EV charger. There are guest parking spaces on both sides of this open space, and there are 2 guest parking spaces here as well. The trash enclosure areas for the complete site are in this location, and one of the last changes to the previously approved plan was that the redevelopment of the site originally included a clubhouse space here, and that was eliminated previously, and the current developer is also supportive of that remaining green space. The developer is here today, so I will allow them to explain more substantial information about their proposal. I will also note that they, as per our code, will be required to submit a tree protection plan and protect as many of the old growth poplars as they can with this project. They're proposing a screening element here along the north end of the property, which is a 6-foot fence, and that is permissible by code. They also, as part of this project, there will be infrastructure improvements. The utilities will be moved to below ground. There will be new water main systems associated with this, and a couple notes from staff related to the improvement of this property. The added infrastructure is understood and expected by staff to result in water pressure improvements to the surrounding areas. I will also note that the on-street parking, and I just confirmed this with traffic engineering today, the signage that restricted parking related to the school use has in fact been removed, and so there was traffic engineering expressed that in fact this development does improve on-street parking in that there are no restrictions on the side streets any longer. So moving ahead to a couple details about the property itself, it is 170,928 square feet, that is 3.92 acres. And in the code, one of the requirements for townhomes is that you have 2,500 square feet of land per unit, and so this proposal does meet the lot area requirement for such a project. There are some street views here of the subject site. The, um, the bulk and setback requirements for the R4 zoning district are met with this proposal. The one item of relief that is requested is from the 24-foot required drive aisle width to be reduced by 4 feet to a 20-foot drive aisle width in two portions of the east-west drive aisle along the north portion of subject site. I failed to point that out to you when we were here, but those areas are right here and also right here. Yes. And that is found to be acceptable by the village. Okay. So I'm going to go through the proposed findings of fact. The request provides new housing opportunities and the reuse of vacant land. It is not anticipated that the request will adversely affect adjacent properties, with its intensity being similar to the existing multifamily residential in the area, and a fence landscape buffer is being planned along the north property line. All uses surrounding the subject site are also residential, so it fits its surroundings. There are adequate public facilities to serve the site, or it will be improved to serve the requested use, which has been confirmed through this submittal, including the underground installation of utilities and the addition of stormwater detention. I will back up for a moment. That is another detail I want to make sure I, point out. Okay, so there are 2 underground stormwater detention tanks that will be, actually more than 2, I believe. The petitioner will show you their site plan, but they're located below the parking areas. So when you see the civils, I will ask them to point that out to you. Another proposed finding of fact would be that the adequate provision for maintenance of the associated structures is demonstrated by the request, as all requirements of the village code will be expected to be upheld at all times. The project intends to achieve Green Globe's multifamily project certification, which we know to be in alignment with the recently adopted sustainability plan. As part of this proposal, an updated traffic impact analysis was required and has been accepted and approved by the village, and so therefore it is not anticipated that the request will create undue traffic congestion, and it will generate a lower daily traffic volume than the previous school use. Public health, safety, and welfare will not be adversely affected by the request, as the proposed improvements will activate a vacant site and increase property tax revenue. The request will I apologize, that's a typo, will conform to all applicable provisions of this code and as enumerated in the approved development agreement. That is also a typo, I apologize. It should say, and as enumerated in the application. So there are 2 additional findings that are required with a planned development. This project came in as a planned development as opposed to the previous project just as a site plan approval, in that it is being, it is one parcel. There is no requested subdivision, although Illinois code requires, Illinois state statute speaks to subdivision. The Village Code of Skokie supersedes that, and it does require board approval. Therefore, we have affirmed that this will be one unified development. It's my understanding it will be rental, and the petitioner can confirm that on the record. And so the planned development findings are that the project is desirable as it provides additional residential housing and enhances the surrounding area with public park space and enhanced stormwater infrastructure. And the second finding for a planned development is that the proposed planned development will not create an environment that is detrimental to the health, safety, or general welfare of persons residing within it or its vicinity, insomuch as the adopted conditions are adhered to. And now, I have, our slides are missing the proposed conditions, so I'm going to read those. As I do so, many of you are probably aware from seeing the previous proposal approved on this site, that the previously approved ordinance that has now become inactive and has been revoked, contained 25 conditions. As a general practice, the Community Development Department has worked to create streamlined conditions that we are bringing forward to you because it was practice of the village previously to provide many conditions that are required under our ordinances. And so it's a bit redundant to provide conditions that are already expected and enforced. But in so much as I say that, it is certainly the commission's prerogative to add conditions as you see appropriate. So as contained in the staff report, these are the recommended conditions. The petitioner shall develop the subject property in substantial conformance with the final village-approved site plan, the civil engineering plan set, final landscaping plan, and building elevations. Here is a point that I failed to highlight from my staff report, but we now have the affordable housing ordinance on record. At the time the project came forward, that was not yet adopted by the village board. The report outlines that according to those terms of that ordinance, should the petitioner wish to request fee in lieu, which they do, they would be required to pay a total sum of $400,000 in lieu of constructing 4 affordable housing units. The applicant has agreed and is willing to carry forward the previously agreed upon amount, which is $450,000. So they shall contribute $450,000 cash payment in lieu of constructing the required 4 affordable housing units prior to the issuance of any building permits. Trash recycling and composting will be required at all buildings within the planned development. The petitioner shall provide the village with copies of active scavenger recycling, composting, and snow removal contracts. At the time of a service or change, the petitioner will provide the village the updated contract information within 30 days of such change. Occupants of the property are not eligible for on-street zoned parking. The petitioner shall sign an agreement for installation and maintenance of landscaping to assure that the subject property and parkway landscaping is completed and maintained, including trimming, watering, and replacing of dead plant materials in a timely manner in accordance with the final approved landscape plan. This agreement for installation and maintenance of landscaping shall be recorded at the petitioner's expense, and failure to abide with any and all items of this, all terms of this ordinance shall be cause for the village to initiate hearings to determine whether the subject ordinance, as well as any applicable business licenses, should be revised or revoked. The petitioner shall pay all costs related to any hearings conducted as a result of noncompliance with any of the provisions of the enabling ordinance. The cost shall include, but not be limited to, court reporter fees, attorney fees, and staff time required for researching and conducting said hearings. That concludes my report. I'm open to your questions.
I wonder.
Good evening. I wanted to confirm, when we say the village has approved the aisle width from 20 to 20, from 24 to 20, That includes fire review, fire apparatus access, et cetera.
Yes, it does. So I would, just as a point of clarification, approved in so much as it's an acceptable variance that they're asking for. That particular area of the site is permeable pavers, but the applicant submitted revised fire truck apparatus turning diagrams that have been reviewed by the fire department.
Perfect, thank you.
Any questions on this side, Commissioner Berman?
A question about what we are approving tonight or not, and what we did approve previously. There were many different cases and approvals before, and those still stand regardless of the developer, is that correct?
It's not entirely correct, no. So the very first proposal that came forward, in short, the buildings affronting Main Street were much larger and a much greater intensity. My recollection is 5 stories, 60 units per building. That was found to be undesirable to the surrounding area. It was, you know, in brief, very concerning from a public best interest standpoint, and that never moved forward. There were to the point of approval. So there were revisions that were made, and if you were to go back and review those cases, which are still available on the village website, you would see that this proposal is substantially similar to the ordinance that was approved. There is code language that states that any ordinance that receives, you know, a favorable vote from the village board and becomes a law, if there's no action taken on that in a certain time frame, it invalidates it. So that particular ordinance approving the site plan is no longer valid.
My question really refers to the subdivision or resub, I think, that we did of the multiple parcels, making them into one. That one, we did approve, that one did get voted on by the village board, and that one continues to be operable. Is that correct?
Subdivisions are binding unless another subdivision application comes forward.
That's fine. And likewise, the street dedication, vacation dedication, the changing of the street dimensions that were prior to this taken by the school and no longer are, that is another thing that we approved at that time and was approved by the village board, and that also remains in effect.
Yes. Now, I will note, since you asked, and just to state for the record, that it is staff and others' observation that if you were to, although I haven't done it this week, so, you know, things happen, maybe it happened this week, Cook County GIS is very behind in that showing accurately, and therefore the village GIS, which that data feeds from the county, is also, in fact, I'll just go to this diagram. So this area that's orange right here really should not be. It is dedicated roadway. We have evidence of that recording, and if you were to look up the parcels, the pins for this property, you would also be, that deed, that recorded deed or that recorded subdivision is searchable. So it's been recorded, it's just not reflecting on all platforms.
Just so then we decide to rededicate those streets back to the village. Those areas now have parking on both sides of the side street that is the north-south side street, and also now on Main. That's reiterating what you said already.
Yes.
Giving more parking to the community.
Correct.
And also more parking to the site for visitors, because they don't have to be limited, those visitors, to only parking within the context of the site. They now have all this public, non-permitted parking on the outside.
The understanding with this, should this move forward to an approval stage, would be that it would be the responsibility of the petitioner, their property management arm, or if they contract that out, that residents of this property should be parking in the guest areas of this.
But their visitors could park it surrounding.
Theoretically.
There's a lot of parking, though, that we've made available now suddenly.
It's also a pretty dense area, so.
Okay.
But there are, based on the lifting of the restrictions that existed when the school is operating, there are substantially less restrictions. It was also shared with me that when the work order went in for the removal of those signs, it was found that there were some signs that were not ever involved, or were not ever installed by Village Public Works that were also removed. So there were some clandestine signs of specific location and type that I'm not privy
Okay.
to.
And the last question, maybe the petitioner will tell us, the elevations you showed us in that one picture on Main, are the elevations the same as they were at our previous approvals that face the side streets?
So, I'm very
There-
bad at this, apparently. Thank you for your patience.
That's been,
They are substantially similar. They are brick materials. The petitioner can speak more to that. It is a color palette change to some degree.
oh, we should see that.
So I'll let them speak to that, but there maybe were some more beiges and browns, and it's now slightly different.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes.
With respect to the trash corrals or the garbage corrals, you pointed out there were two of them towards the Main Street side. Bring that up again, if you will.
Yes.
All right. It seems to me to be a rather large development. We've got two trash corrals. Are we satisfied that's sufficient with respect to the density there?
We are generally satisfied with that arrangement. You could look to recent multifamily building approvals with approximately the same unit number that are utilizing, that number of trash receptacles. As to the cubic feet of the dumpsters they intend to use there and how the frequency of pickup, I would encourage you to inquire with the petitioner for more information.
These will be on our franchise agreement, so if it's determined they need more than once a week garbage pickup, then that would be something that they would work out as they live in the space.
So we could go to two if
It could,
necessary.
right, if they choose that, but recall, we're also seeking to have composting on site to divert some of the waste. And so we're trying to divide up our waste to encourage more leaving it in proper channels than just all going in the dumpster and filling up dumpsters. We spent a lot of time with this because we did not want to have toters for each unit, looking at how we manage our rodent population. We want to have define specific areas. One of our challenges in this town is when we have lots of households that each have their own garbage management, that gets very tricky. So we spent a lot of time thinking about how exactly to do this, and the bigger the area for garbage, you create a bigger feast of area. So we want to keep it tight and controlled.
Further questions? Okay, thank you very much. At this time, I'll ask the petitioner to come up.
Okay, I believe this is you. You're welcome.
Good evening, Chair Luke and members of the commission. My name is Katie Janke-Dale from the law firm of DLA Piper, and we represent the petitioner for this matter. Do you want to swear them in
Yes,
now?
well, anybody in your chorus who'd want to speak, stand up and just raise your right hand. Just stay in place. Do you affirm that the testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you?
I do. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So just for introductions of who you just swore in. I have Ross Babel in the middle. He's with the petitioner, Fulton Street Companies. Mike Brecklaw is to his right, your left. He's with Fitzgerald Associates, the architect. And then I put Louis Javier Milan from KLOA. He's a principal with the traffic consultant.
Okay, thank you.
So given this is the second time this body has seen more or less the same proposal for this site, we'll keep it very brief, but we thought it would be really helpful to give some background information on probably the biggest thing that is new, which is the developer. So Fulton Street Companies is a development firm that's headquartered right here in Chicago. Won't be surprised, in Fulton Market. Very creative, Ross. They have extensive experience across asset types, which includes residential projects, from inception of the project and sourcing the site through stabilization and operations. They have been or are currently involved in 2.5 million square feet of development, and they work with high-quality users and institutional lenders, some of which are listed on this slide and no doubt familiar to you. This slide shows a few of their projects that are either under development or recently delivered. This includes 3 commercial properties shown and 1 residential development that has 433 units planned. Their strategy is to identify high potential sites and execute on them, delivering quality product that attracts capital even in challenging market conditions like we're in today. So as the commission is aware, the site was previously approved and staff did a great job outlining the proposal for a nearly identical plan with 68 currently planned to be rental townhomes and 158 parking spaces. The main difference, which I'll get to in a little bit, is the materials that have been revised to improve the aesthetics and align them with what we're seeing in the marketplace. Otherwise, the proposal remains the same, but a new approval, like we discussed, is required because the site plan approval lapsed after 18 months. So this is the previously approved site plan showing the townhomes arranged on the site, including the 3 open spaces that are remaining. And this is a new site plan. You may have noticed nothing changed. As mentioned, the main difference is the aesthetics of the townhomes themselves. The massing remains identical. This is a view of the previously proposed buildings and coloring. And here's the new design, which consists predominantly of warm white brick with medium taupe brick sections at the lower levels and accents of dark gray brick, dark window frames, and cast stone window trim. It's anticipated that this new design will be reviewed by the Appearance Commission at their November 12th meeting. And here's an aerial of the final development from the southeast looking northwest. It shows the arrangement of the buildings on the site and the central open space and how it fits within the surrounding context. Here are the building elevations showing the materials that I discussed on the rendering. And then more detail on the materials, which will consist of brick, fiber cement panel, and metal coping. Mike Brecklaw, like I mentioned, is here from Fitzgerald if there are detailed design questions. The landscape plan remains the same as the previous approval, including the tree removal plan. And the developer is committed to pursuing a number of sustainable strategies, including the 16 that are listed here on the slide, which includes seeking Green Globe certification and various performance systems and material strategies. So as staff mentioned, the developer has agreed to maintain the commitment of the $450,000 affordable housing payment, notwithstanding the code changes since that 2024 approval. And we've worked with staff closely to conduct their customary reviews and address their concerns. And we are in agreement with all the proposed conditions in the staff report, including the one related to trash service agreements and providing copies of those as well as any updates to them. So that concludes our presentation, but we are all here for questions. Thank you.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, the fiber cement that you're talking about, those panels, they are what we sometimes commonly refer to as EFS?
Come on up.
Would you come up with the
Actually, typically the hardy board.
Hardy board.
Mike Brecklaw with Fitzgerald.
Would you give us your name as you come up?
Yes, my name is Mike Brecklaw. I'm a principal and design director with Fitzgerald Architects.
Great, thanks.
in Chicago.
So you're replacing some brick with some hardy
Between
board?
in the vertical pieces between the windows, what we call the spandrel panel, that would be hardy board.
Okay.
In panelized conditions. But the base and all the public-facing spaces would be either a light-colored brick or a beige-colored brick, and then so that varies there.
And on the side of the properties?
The sides facing the streets are a brick, the public faces. On the garage face, there's more, I don't believe that the full elevations are there, but there will be more panel on the garage, where garages face garages. There'll be more panel there.
So the back of those properties?
Yes.
the public facing, you include the side street as
Correct.
well as the main street.
Correct.
Those are all public facing and those are largely
All
brick,
the
but for the
front
small
doors,
amount of
all
hardy.
the front doors, will always, will have a brick facing.
That is hardy board not only between the windows, but also hardy board between the units?
That may be, no, I think that's a dark brick, certainly down low where it's next to the doors. Up above, it might become identical to the same panel, just for similar
Okay,
panel.
Totally different question, but maybe it's
Sure.
yours. And that is the park in the middle of the property intended to be a public park? And as well as the other two corner parks? And is there access to the site? Is it a private site, or is it a site that is accessible to neighbors?
The site is not fenced off, and I don't, the
I
central.
I see the grassy areas between the buildings that face Main, for example, that grassy pathway. Is that a public pathway?
It's not
the grassy
fenced off.
areas that
It's
are
not
north-
fenced off, and I believe it's, sort of the intent is it's not encouraged that the public could walk through there, but it's not, they can't, nothing prevents them from walking through the area. I think from a kind of urban planning point of view, the two parks to the, what would be the northwest and the northeast are directly accessible to sort of neighborhood pathways. Neighbors could walk to the middle of the site, but, because there's no restriction to that, but it's not intended to be, developed as that. So,
There are no fences then around the two corner parks?
right now, there are no fences. There may be some that protect them from parking and sort of things like that, where there's parking there. It will further develop the landscaping as we look at that.
But
And
it's
there's the
conti-
continuous fence along the north side of that.
There is, but you're anticipating that because there's no fence on either the east
Yeah, it
or
would
the
be
west
more,
sides.
you'd be able to walk off the sidewalk onto the lawn and sort of, relax or sort of enjoy that space. a little.
And also, there's no intent to put private property signs anywhere on the property?
We haven't, done that at all night yet, but.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions on this side? Okay, Commissioner Black?
Appreciate your including the green globes in the development idea. The last item on that list talks about EV charging readiness planning and implementation. I know that's a more recent addition to the Green Globes program, but what is your idea? I'm thinking, for instance, all these garages, if somebody wants to buy an electric car,
Certainly.
Is there
Right.
going to be accommodations built into what you're building that'll make it easy for that to happen?
Yes, it would be suitable, it would be an easy transition for a resident or the landlord to sort of make an EV charging station for the resident. I think the intent is that there are a couple spots for visitors that are open that could be used.
But they'll be like, roughed-in conduit and boxes or something so that can be done easily
Yeah,
in the
there'd be
future?
kind of an outlet, or whether it's 220 or whatever that voltage needs to be. And, technology is changing for what those become and so forth, so.
Yeah, okay, thank
Okay,
you.
this side? Questions? For
The,
Commissioner Burton?
at the last presentation, a couple of years ago, the center building was touted as a place for management to be, so the community would be more happy with a based operation of community management. However, that building is gone. Where do you intend this office to be for rental management?
In terms of leasing and management?
Mike, we have your name, please.
Yeah, my name is Ross Babel. I'm with Fulton Street Companies. So my understanding is there was a conversation before regarding having a management on-site office, or more or less kind of call it a communal office for the residents and be able to approach it. But that was eliminated from the previous design or from the previous approved plan. So we kind of adhere to stick around with what was approved before. Since that wasn't on the drawings before, we did not add that back in. But that was our understanding that while that was the original intent, maybe that's not how the last developer ended up with.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Where is the management and leasing going to be located?
It would have to be remotely. We don't have an.
Where?
It would be remotely. It would be either in our office in Full Market, or if it's a third-party management company that we intend to hire,
whatever their property management office is, that would be the property management office for the, for the building.
Thank you.
Yes,
A
Commissioner
follow-up
Bowman?
question, I mean, would there be a regular schedule then for the property manager to stop by and make sure that everything's looking appropriately and being taken care of and what have you? Is there hired maintenance?
Yes, generally, a property management company inspects the property at least a couple times a week. And then any resident who's in the property can always reach out to the property management company for whatever service or requirement is. But yes, absolutely, we'll be inspecting the property multiple times a week.
Thank you.
I have two questions for
Yes.
Joanna or for Kate. One is, don't we have, and do we need therefore to exclude this, a Hardy Board prohibition on residential property? I remember we specifically said that it could be on commercial property, especially holding up sign panels, but it would not be allowed on the face of residential property because of the possibility of deterioration. Is that something that we have to revisit or not?
Well, I think the challenge with some of the Hardy Board materials is not the challenge, maybe the good thing is they've improved quite significantly, and the engineering of the material has improved quite significantly. So in terms of, it's a wear and tear and ability to be on buildings where we have been increasingly accepting of it in areas that are not visible from the public right of way. But we will, and Commissioner Berman, I know you like to have the Appearance Commission first, but we also want to make sure that they know that the Appearance Commission gets things that they know that they can build, and that being the footprint of this building. So, and this particular project was also the one that we revisited the decision to not go to Appearance first and come to Plan Commission first. So I will yield to the Appearance Commission to make that determination.
Will that require then an exception by the Appearance Commission because of our current
They may have
rule?
to, revisit that, or they may have to, as they get ready for their application to Appearance Commission, they may modify the materials. I think they gave the materials and the look mostly because there had been concerns raised about what is different about the project. I don't know that if they had not previously had a submission before, would they have gone into the details of the materials? I think that was a bit of a privilege for us to see how the building had changed.
Well, we did approve the brick, though, in the past. We did
Right,
hear that
yes.
it was an all-brick structure, and
Yes.
so now we are hearing this other thing. The other thing for staff, I think, is the representation by the petitioner that management on site was taken out of some plan. But I specifically remember approving that building, not green space in the middle of the site, which included on-site management. And it was one of the issues that the community was raising to make sure that it was properly managed. So where did that fall out in the previous plan?
I'm not sure, I think that, my understanding was that clubhouse was eliminated completely. There was never any on-site management that was going to be maintained on the site. I think because the previous plan came to us multiple times, we saw several different, and by the time you approved it, the clubhouse had been completely removed. And so that there was no more on-site, there was never a condition that on-site management be maintained at the site. I don't believe that I ever heard from that particular developer that they were planning to maintain on-site officing. They may have been present and using that similar to what they were offering the other residents, which were like satellite offices, other mobile workspace, remote workspace. They talked about, a shared kitchen space for large gatherings and parties. But I don't believe that by the time they left the Plan Commission that they had had a plan to convert a unit or provide any on-site management.
So what we approved, you think, is what we are to believe is something without on-site management,
Absolutely.
without the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question about lighting at night. Will those public areas in the north corners or northeast and northwest corners of the property, will they be lit at night? Will they have some kind of security lighting? And how are your walkways going to be lit?
I'll let the architect, and potentially we'll have a lighting consultant on board for the project, but Mike?
Yes, yeah, very
Yes.
true. There'll be a lighting consultant, and typically there are parking areas that, foot candle studies so that there's no light bleeding into other areas. Certainly, both from building lighting that might be illuminating the sidewalks or other areas, we'll design it and we'll do light studies to make sure that all the pedestrian pathways
I'm
are
just
safe.
concerned about the two
The two small parks.
Yeah, they should be lit because,
I think some
Yeah.
small-scale campus lighting or a bollard nearby,
Yeah,
just so it
that'll be on
feels,
throughout the
I
evening.
don't think we want to make it also obtrusive to the neighbors, that it's something else. So if we could find a light source that's a good balance to both make it feel safe, but not be sort of a source of glare to the neighboring homes.
okay, very good, thank you. Any further questions? Gentlemen, thank you very much. Unless you have something else further to add, or I'll open up the floor to citizens' comments. Okay? All right, have you got this thing set right now? Because it's at 2:59. Is that okay? Is it working? Okay, yes, okay. All right, you'll be each given 3 minutes to speak. The clock will start after you give us your name. Okay, sir?
First, if you'll indulge me to answer Commissioner Berman's question, the site plan that you approved did include that single-story building.
Thank you.
And now I'll take my time. Good evening, my name is Ken Marley. I'm a 15-year resident of Elm Terrace in Skokie, behind the subject property. The public notice sent to neighbors on behalf of Fulton Street Companies and the village staff report both note that the plan presented tonight is substantially similar to the plan approved by this commission in 2023. However, these documents fail to acknowledge the shortcomings of that prior approval. At their first plan review in July 2022, village staff informed the previous developer that their original plan exceeded limits on maximum living units and maximum building height. Despite this, that developer submitted that plan for permitting, seemingly so they could claim over and over again that their second submission, the one you see today, was a compromise with the community. And even that 68-unit compromise was in direct conflict with Skokie's zoning ordinance. Most egregiously, all 12 buildings were placed on a single lot without seeking planned development approval, resulting in buildings that were packed more closely together than would be necessitated by minimum yard size requirements for buildings on individual lots. At no point were these deficiencies raised by village staff, and when community members presented concerns with zoning code violations backed by the signatures of 97 village residents, this commission chose to be highly deferential in their review responsibility. And I quote, "If it's presented according to code by the interpretation of our zoning administrator, our legal counsel, our planning director, the other issues, all of which are interesting, are not relevant to our decision." End quote. After the village board approved the previous plan on this commission's recommendation, the community sought legal representation from Mr. Mark Linz of SWK Attorneys. We met with village manager John Lockerbie and community developer director Johanna Neiden, who informed us that the oversights could only be remedied by litigation. Wary of the associated time and financial costs, we kept watch for demolition and construction permit applications before seeking such legal remedy. And Providence eventually delivered us relief through the previous developer's financial insolvency. Despite avoiding the courthouse, I'm here tonight to remind everyone that the previous submission at 4600 Main Street was deeply flawed. Furthermore, those flaws are implicitly acknowledged today, as the exact same site plan now comes to you under a planned development application, as opposed to the standard site plan review of yesteryear. I implore you to review this application with a fresh set of eyes and ears, and an open mind to the reasonable issues that other community members will raise tonight, particularly with regards to preserving open spaces, design that is complementary with the regulations of adjacent and abutting districts, and requiring a concession for on-site affordable housing. All of these are within your purview and power granted by the Plan Development Chapter. Stated simply, the plan before you tonight, one sentence, is wrong for our neighborhood, though maybe a good start, but with a little cooperation, I know we can make it right together. Thank you.
Anyone else? Again, the clock will start.
I'm David Freer. For 30 years, I've lived in a single-family home adjacent to the schoolyard. Some years ago, the school planned to rebuild itself on its 4,600 premises. And we neighbors thought the plan grotesque. The mayor, Sorry. Okay. Anyway, the mayor, then, he was sensible and lucid. He agreed that it was grotesque and he did not greenlight the project. Last year, the same mayor, in obvious and well-chronicled dotage, disdained a possible Crown School Memorial Arboretum, and instead he approved a plan way more hideous than the school's plan, and he even endorsed a pipsqueak builder who I wouldn't trust to build a 2-foot sand hill on a beach. And now, Ross, you are taking advantage that the hapless pipsqueak already paid an architect and a slick shyster. My question, Ross, is how do you feel undertaking a project that is hatred?
Sir, Reese, could you stop the clock? Sir, could you kind of tone down your language, please?
My question, Ross, is how do you feel undertaking a project that is hated, Ross, by 100% of the neighbors? How do you feel, Ross?
Sir, okay,
How do you feel?
you don't have to answer that. Sir, you can't, we're not going to let you debate with the petitioner tonight.
I'm not debating,
No,
I want to
you're
know
not-
how he
no.
feels about this.
Sir, I'm going to ask,
Presentations are to the,
Right.
to the commission,
Commissioner,
not
and
to
that-
each other. So not only
I
for
love,
this.
I
No,
want to
sir.
know my neighbor. I mean, this is my neighbor.
no, sir, I'm going to ask you to step down. Thank you.
I mean, is it money? I mean, you need
Sir,
money?
sir, please. That's
Gotta
enough.
have money, I need more money, right? Good luck, Russ.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Tom Whitaker. I live on Kilpatrick Avenue, and my family's been there about 4.5 years. I did not receive notifications from the petitioner in the mail. I believe they were addressed to the previous owner, so I don't open other people's mail, but I brought them so I could be added to a list for any future communications. After reviewing the village staff recommendations in the agenda, I respectfully disagree with the proposed plan development for 68 three-story townhomes. I respectfully disagree that the proposed plan development for 68 three-story townhomes complements adjoining residential uses. This proposal squeezes too many three-story townhomes on the site, which is why I urge you to reject the proposal. To provide context for our neighborhood, the existing three-story structures on the south side of Main Street have other three-story structures to the south. The three-story buildings have parking spaces along both sides of the alley and no residential backyards. Also, the buildings at the corners of Main and Kenton, as well as Main and Kilpatrick, are not 3 stories. To my knowledge, there are no 3-story buildings adjacent to the site that overlook 2-story homes. So I understand my Elm Terrace neighbors' concerns about having multiple 3-story buildings overlooking their private backyards. The current proposal would not complement their properties. The plan development also proposes setbacks of only 20 feet for 3-story buildings on Kilpatrick and Kenton. This is inconsistent with the adjoining residential uses. All buildings across Main Street from the site on the south side are set back 25 feet. My 1-story home and the neighboring townhomes on the north side of Kilpatrick are all set back 25 feet. Allowing 3-story townhouses with a reduced setback across the street from 1- and 2-story homes needlessly impedes our view of the skyline. The current proposal would not complement our properties. In summary, the density of the current proposal means it does not include setbacks consistent with other adjoining properties, requests a reduction in drive aisle widths, and creates an unnecessary, imposing footprint that does not complement the surrounding neighborhood. That is why the planned development should not be approved in its current form. Thank you.
Sir, could you give us those letters that?
Sure.
And maybe give us your name and address too?
Yeah. I can do that on the side if someone
That'd
else
be
wants
fine,
to speak.
sure. Thank you. All right, anyone else, please? Next. Just a minute, we're not ready. Let's reset the clock.
If you speak, please sign in.
Okay, so could you step up to the microphone when you have a chance when you're ready to speak? I know, she's signing in.
Okay, you want me to speak or you want me to?
No, sign in first. Thank you. Okay, your time will start after you give us your name.
Okay. My name is Emmy Yamauchi. I'm a resident of Skokie. I am not a direct neighbor of 4600 Main, but as a Skokie resident, I do feel it's important for the commission to take into account what other neighbors are saying and their concerns for their neighborhood. As for me, with the new administration, I'm hoping that the Plan Commission will look at this proposal with fresh eyes. The period of validity for their permits has lapsed, and I believe that the whole project deserves a full review, primarily because if we really want to have an inclusive, welcoming Skokie, we should be looking at a balanced housing market. And right now, all I see are luxury, high-rent apartments being constructed with no on-site affordable housing. $400,000 is chump change for any kind of construction work. And as far as I can tell, in the last 4 years, we've had hundreds of approvals for hundreds of high-end luxury apartment rentals and virtually no actual new additional affordable on-site housing constructed. So I'm asking the Plan Commission to please reread everything associated with the planned development, which says that the village, the Plan Commission, is permitted to require reasonable concessions on the part of the developer. It also says that the Plan Commission can exercise diversity and imagination, and I'm asking the Plan Commission to please exercise these attributes. The village of Skokie should be standing up for its residents. It should be demanding community-wide benefits and negotiating for them, both for the current residents and for the future residents that we hope to attract. We should be demanding a compelling reason for why on-site affordable housing is not buildable, especially in the planning stages. And I would like to know why that is always the first fallback of everything. I believe that the staff member quoted, "If the developer wishes to pay the fee in lieu," well, of course, they will be happy to just pay $400,000 or $450,000. But on-site affordable housing that is built into the plan from the start does not increase the costs of construction. It may delay the profit-making for a year or two, but it does not increase the construction costs. So I'm asking the commission to please reconsider this plan, look at it with fresh eyes, look at it with the point of view that additional new affordable on-site housing is imperative for Skokie's growth in the future, and to consider where any fee in lieu monies are going to go, and hopefully into a community land trust. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, please. Anyone? Let's reset the clock first.
Thank you for your patience. We believe the batteries are running low.
Oh, is that about batteries? Okay, your time will start after you give us your name.
All right, I'm a little concerned because I've got to modify based on what everyone else said to drop it off. My name's Ellen Weber. I live at 4636 Elm Terrace. I am a retired community development director. And with all due respect, I believe we have an incomplete submittal here. I'm concerned that MWRD has not yet reviewed the project. I'm uncomfortable with this process of engineering not having been more substantively reviewed at this stage of a development, and I won't get into the details of why. I'm concerned about auto stacking in and out of the property with 25-foot setbacks. I'm concerned about the ability to convert these to sales of individual units. I want to note that Bobolink is a half right-of-way. The north end of Kenton and Kilpatrick are both half right-of-ways, making it very tight coming into our block. I can still tell you the terror at 16 years old when I almost hit somebody. The only public benefit seems to be contribution of the $450,000. The residents are gaining traffic 24/7, where it was clustered before. They're gaining lights. They're losing 2 acres of active recreation, with the school thankfully let the community use. The demand for parking is going to increase. Kilpatrick is filled every night. We're going to lose some parking spaces with the turn aisles, the access aisles put in place. So why are we not requiring any dedication of public right-of-way here? That is an available concession that the village board could ask for. And I wanted to do some math just to see what if there was some public right-of-way dedicated for the benefit of the people that will live there, because that south drive aisle is going to be very busy. There's going to be, 48 garages fronting onto it, all the delivery and refuse trucks. The first units are 20 feet out from the street. If that was a full street right-of-way, we would then have a 2-lot subdivision, and the numbers change dramatically because a 3.92 acre project could conceivably be brought down to 3 acres, which would then allow 53 units, not 68. I think there's a lot of math. I understand that a planned development, anything can be varied. But I think that there is some room for wider drive aisles and cars being able to park in front of their driveways. And I've given more details to staff in writing.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to come up? Give us a minute to reset the clock. Clock has been reset. Your time will start after you give us your name.
Sure. Sarah Franks. Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Sarah Franks, and I have lived on Elm Terrace since 2022. I'm here to share my feedback about the development of the property located at 4600 Main with regards to fidelity to village code and the concerns from the community and myself about the public health and safety implications of this level of overdensity. Overdensity like this isn't just a design issue, it's a health and safety issue. It results in overflowing trash because trash proliferates quickly when multiple properties share very narrow trash collection spots, limited bin allowance due to space constraints, and limited waste pickup schedules. Overflowing trash results in pest problems including rats, flies, roaches, and exposure to germs and contagious diseases, not to mention odors. Visible trash accumulation due to overdensity signals neglect and contributes to the perception of neighborhood decline, undermines community pride, and signals blight. This has real impact on the mental health and well-being of residents. Trash management is not just a matter of private responsibility. Residents cannot control the number of people sharing a single dumpster, the spacing of collection routes, and waste pickup schedules. With regards to the problem of overdensity in water management, overdensity results in stormwater drainage issues, overflow of contaminated water, including sewage, into basements and streets, and overall increased strain on sanitation, water, and emergency services, which have been designed for a lower density model indicated by village code. These are not minor or aesthetic inconveniences. They are conditions that threaten the well-being of the entire neighborhood and the public health of the community. The purpose of the Planned Development Code is to encourage thoughtful, high-quality design that strengthens a community, not overwhelms it. When development exceeds those limits, it becomes unsanitary, unsafe, and unsustainable. Tonight, you have the opportunity to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the people who live here. A healthy community isn't built through maximum density. It's built through balance, respect, and responsible planning. Let's make sure this project reflects that. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
I'm new to this.
Yeah, just
What do I do?
come up to the microphone.
Sign in afterward.
You can sign it afterwards. You can sign it later.
I actually only have one very, very quick thing to say. Okay, my name is Renee Burin. I also
Just a
live-
second, please. Let's
Pardon?
reset just a minute. Give us a chance to reset the clock. Okay, your time will start after you give us your
All
name.
right. My name is Renee Burin. I live on Elm Terrace as well. I only have one thing to say. Years ago, we had other problems that were impacting our block. And during the course of research, I read that the code states that the life of current residents should not be impacted. There is no question that the life of current residents is going to be impacted. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Next person, please. Good evening.
Good evening. Can I say my name at the end and get like endless time?
No, you just give us your name, and your time will start after you give us your name.
Good evening. My name is Brian Levinson. I want to thank the chairman and the board commission for their time. I am a Skokie civic leader involved in a number of organizations, and I sit on the Skokie Economic Development Commission. I also am involved in the RE Crown project as well as others. I really just wanted to emphasize here tonight the positives of this project. There are some neighbors that have questioned some of the experts, engineers and stormwater, et cetera, and garbage collection and all of that. But I really wanted to emphasize what this means for the growth of Skokie. There is a plan, as the commission knows, for Main Street economic development to revitalize Main Street a little bit further east of this property, but this will be certainly a project that will kickstart new residents of all sorts of backgrounds that are looking for rental homes in the area. We know that there's a shortage of newer stock, not 1950s dated housing, and this will drive the surrounding businesses. It will drive the economic development to the village. In terms of the aesthetics of the property and the density that people have been discussing, this project has been reviewed multiple times with variations over the years, as we all know, to come to what we believe is a very strong product for housing in Skokie to drive the future of our village. Unfortunately, there has been a lot of discussion about what delayed this project, and unfortunately, what really did delay the project was on the new construction site. We had an electrical fire during construction, which set the school behind over a year, which caused the prior developer's economic situation to change. Interest rates changed over that period of time. Other things changed, and he couldn't wait out the close to 18-month to 24-month delay that occurred. But really, my point is to emphasize that there are a number of neighbors that are not happy. All of us would love to have an open park, lots of space around us. But the positives that this will bring for the greater village, I believe, far outweigh what some of those negatives are. And those negatives, in certain people's opinions, are valid. And I'm not here to disagree with that. I just want to stress that the positive for the village, not to mention, currently, it's a vacant piece of property, and it will sit vacant until we get a developer that can develop it. And to get it back on the tax rolls is a commitment we made to the village, and that's what we intend to do. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name
Okay,
is,
excuse me, before we start. At this time, is anybody else who'd want to come up, who wishes to come up and speak, please line up so we get an idea of how many people we'll have speaking. So we don't go too late tonight. Okay, so you'll be the last person speaking?
I don't know.
She'll be the last person speaking if no one else comes up. Okay.
Shirley Trissel.
Just reset the clock, or, you know, reset, we're good? Okay, your time will start after you give us your name.
Shirley Trissel. I live at 4708 Main Street.
Speak into the microphone, or is that?
I live at 4708 Main Street.
Okay.
This is connected to what Ellen said. Approving any ordinance should include the deed restrictions approved in 2023, prohibiting parking as principal use, assisted living, skilled nursing, and multifamily housing. And my concern is regarding the density of the situation. In my block, my side of the block, there are 32 units on one side. On the other side, there are only 9 houses, so 32 plus 9 is like only, what, 41? And they're wanting to do half again as many. The problem is, there's a one-way street on Bobolink, a very narrow one-way street, and the golf course. So that all the traffic, everything has to go through those 2 tiny little streets. There's simply not enough room for all that. Right now, there's no parking as it is. As she said, it's all filled up at night. Sometimes I park 2 blocks away. The traffic is such that it's really difficult to cross the street anytime. Streets always are, there's no restriction. The speed limit is not regarded at all. People see green light and they just go 40 miles an hour. And with twice that many people, it's too many in that space. It's okay, I mean, if they were on, I know there's big buildings along Cicero or Skokie Boulevard. That's fine, there's plenty of room there for everybody to turn around, everybody to park, for all their trash and stuff. This is not enough. You'd have to maybe cut out half the golf course or something, maybe think about doing something like that if you're really serious about it. But as it is, this is too many people.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, at this point, public comments is closed.
We can have discussion amongst the commissioners.
I can have the petitioner come up, and I can ask them if they're having questions about the staff report. But, who, maybe have the attorney come up, and after hearing the staff report and looking at the recommended conditions and everything you've heard tonight, is there anything you have a comment on, or
Nope.
any concerns about the conditions?
No questions, no concerns. We just thank staff for all their hard work on this, and thank all of you for your consideration of it. We're totally fine with the conditions.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have a
Yes.
question. If our approval is conditioned upon the elevations remaining substantially and materially the same, and therefore there will be no increase of hardy board on the elevations, will that be acceptable to you as the petitioner? We don't want you to go to the appearance commission and argue a different point for cost and get the entire building built out of hardy board.
Oh, sorry, did you?
Commissioner Berman, you're not approving the elevations. You're going to approve the site plan.
Well, that will be my condition. I will not vote in favor of this, and that's what I wanted to have an open discussion about, because I feel not deceived so much by the developers as much as by our own appearance commission. When the developer goes and changes that elevation that we lovingly vote for, and then it changes to something entirely different, that is not something that we, in the best interest of the village, can posit toward the trustees. So you can hear in my voice, I'm excited about this, and I've been excited about it for many months. Therefore, I will move this forward. We'll see if I get a second to my motion, and my motion will have that condition as part of it.
Well, we look at the footprint and the use. That's more of an aesthetic.
Yes, I can make my condition, and then we'll see if I get seconded and voted upon.
Well, I guess I just want to be very clear to everybody in the audience that there is no purview for this body to opine on the materials and to make a recommendation. That is the Appearance Commission's purview, no different than the Appearance Commission does not opine on density or other things related to the land use.
But Johanna, shouldn't we feel somewhat deceived when something beautiful is brought to us and what is built is not? And you know my position has been this. We can have this open discussion right now.
We have to rely on the Appearance Commission to do that.
We
They don't-
cannot.
they're not gonna cheapen
Then we
this.
should not see elevations at all.
They don't have to show elevations.
If I can just clarify, yeah, I think we did show the elevations just because we wanted to be fully transparent, that we, we didn't feel like we could come here and say we're proposing the same exact plan when we knew that the elevations were gonna be different. So it really was in the spirit of transparency that we showed those tonight, because they all raised their right hand. We didn't want to say no changes, but we were trying to be transparent. I will say though, on the record, we're not planning on, we don't have enough time to redesign the buildings, and Mike, we have no intention of increasing it. But, if the Appearance Commission say they like hardy board, we can't control that either.
So what I was going to discuss
But
amongst
we have no
ourselves-
plans.
What I was going to discuss was, it appears that the petitioner has brought to us a plan substantially similar to what it was previously, but they have cheapened it somewhat. Cheapened it in the building materials, not tremendously, but somewhat, and cheapened it by removing the on-site building that was very important, I thought, to our discussions last time, that one of the people in the audience suggested was still there when we approved it. I will accept the idea that we need development on the site, and this is probably a good development, but that I don't want to be, I don't want this to be cheapened to the point where it is not the development that we approve. And that is my position tonight. I want my fellow commissioners to feel the same way, so that if we then see something that goes to the Board of Trustees that is not substantially what we approve tonight, if we approve it, that we will then rise up and say to the trustees, this is not
Okay.
what we approved.
All right. Mr.
Jeff,
Jeff,
open up a discussion.
Couple comments. One is, and look, I'm not gonna argue someone said they were looking at the report that was approved, but I remember that the building had been removed.
Okay.
That's my recollection, but I could be wrong.
Could you turn your microphone on, please?
Secondly, is that had this come to us, first of all, we don't have purview over the aesthetics of it, we're land use, and so, and that is for the Appearance Commission. Had it not come to us before and come to us now as this, you wouldn't even be raising the issue, because it'd be a question of whether or not it's appropriate land use relative to ordinances in Skokie.
And let me say that while you think that it is only appearance, we get to those very important issues like the Popeyes on Toohey, which was turned entirely ass backwards, so that the front became the back and the back became the front. So if these buildings wind up with the garages on Main, as we've been discussing, it seems to me that then our approval will go forward, because that will have been an appearance issue. I do not think it's an appearance issue. I think that is a planning issue that we must take up. We were deceived by Popeyes and by the Appearance Commission in moving that building ass backwards. I don't want to be deceived in this by having the facade of brick facing Main changed to garages with hardy board facing Main.
No, I don't think the Appearance Commission changed the direction of the building. I think they changed the direction of the building because of the drive-through.
Whatever it was not what we approved
Well, I
originally.
understand
And
that, but
that's why I don't
but
want
you're
this to
blaming the
change.
Appearance Commission for that.
I don't know who to blame. I know that
But I
what
think
we
the
approved was
the
one thing.
Plan Commission approved that relative to the positioning of that building on that street, which, by the way, unfortunately, I wasn't here. I would have voted against it because it doesn't belong there at all. But that's a different discussion. But the Plan Commission approved that building facing those directions. And so whether or not it was the Appearance Commission that had them turn around before it came to Plan, or Plan approved it and then it went to Plan, I don't know at the time, but.
Well,
I'm ready to make my motion.
you could make the motion.
I move approval of case number
2025-12.
2025-12P with the condition that it move forward to the Appearance Commission and the trustees in substantially and materially the same fashion as presented tonight, and that includes elevation and building materials.
Well, what if the Appearance Commission wishes to change that?
Then it has to come back to us. My approval, my motion and my approval is based on
Okay,
this
that's
plan.
fine, that's fine, all right.
Okay.
Do we have a second on Commissioner Berman's motion?
I'd like to amend the motion.
You have to ask his permission.
May I amend the motion? Everything you said minus the materials. I think the The way it's presented and the orientation of the buildings and all of that, sure, but the building materials, I don't believe is our purview.
So for an entirely hardy board building in a brick
That's up to the
community.
appearance commission. That's not up to us.
So we're back to
So I'd
square
like to
one.
amend the I'm fine with everything else you said, minus the
I
materials.
will,
It protects the garage on the front, it doesn't allow the buildings to be rotated.
I will accept your amendment.
Okay, and then I'll second it.
Okay,
Okay, so.
that's
we
fine.
got
I like that. That's
We
good.
got that?
Thanks.
Okay.
At least I get my front forward building. That's fine.
Okay.
Thanks.
Commissioner,
Could we review what we're voting on?
yeah, let's review
please?
that.
Make your motion again,
I will.
minus the materials.
I move the approval of case number, again, 2025-12P, as presented with the condition that the presentation to the Appearance Commission and to the trustees be substantially and materially the same as tonight, in that the elevations are substantially and materially the same, with the exception of the
aesthetic.
materials which can be decided by the Appearance Commission.
But that motion binds the trustees, which you can't do.
No, I'm saying that, no, I'm not.
You
I'm
said
saying-
it had
I'm
to-
saying moving toward, no, if it doesn't move to them in substantially materially the same way, then it has to come back to us.
But these plans change all the time on the way up to the board.
They cannot change the substantial material elevation of the buildings.
We've never done that before.
I know, that's why we got the Popeyes on Tui.
I just don't think we have the power to do that.
You just want them front facing.
I do want front facing, and I can envision,
So
because of
say
the
that.
already existing cheapening of this project, that would be one more step to cheapen the project after we vote on it.
Because we're only a recommending body, even if you reject it, it still goes to the board.
If they came to propose moving around, we would bring it back to the plan commission. Staff would recommend bringing back to the plan commission.
Johanna, by what rule?
We are not going to carry the recommendation from the plan commission with a different project than went to the village board.
We did with the Popeyes.
Commissioner Berman, with all due respect, I'm not going to discuss the Popeyes at this time, and at this moment. If you'd like to have an offline conversation, I'm welcoming of that, and you know that, but we're not going to continue to discuss it here. We're just going to focus on 4600 Main.
My motion is still there, and you withdraw your,
Yeah.
you withdraw your amendment,
You withdraw your.
Tyler White.
amendment?
So
Is it-
what do you think?
Because
How
even
can
if
I?
you vote it down, it
Yes.
still goes to the board. You can't say, well, I'm going to make a condition that if we vote it down, it can't go to the board.
I'm not
How
voting
can
it
you make
down,
a
I'm voting
motion?
it, I'm voting for it.
Yeah, but if you don't
With
have the power
conditions.
if you don't have the power to prevent it from going to the board with a no vote, how are you going to prevent it from going to the board with a yes vote?
It still has to go before the board.
I'll withdraw my motion, let somebody else make the
Okay.
motion, and I will deny.
Okay.
There's a fundamental issue here, is that we're approving the elevations not from a standpoint of aesthetics, but from the standpoint of the footprint on the property in the way that's presented to us. If in fact someone proposes that those be rotated, that's not what we saw, that's not what we approved, and it should come back to us.
But why, but that was my motion, but Tyler said that it's not possible.
Okay,
Well,
so
it's not
you.
possible to bind the trustees.
No.
He's not binding the trustee.
Order. Are you withdrawing your motion? Yes or no?
Yes, because I
Thank you.
think that's.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to make a motion to approve.
Okay, a motion to approve.
2025-12P site plan approval,
Okay,
As presented.
as presented.
as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Who's that? Commissioner Woodtree seconds.
But wait, Jeff Berman just said as presented.
I said as
No,
presented as well.
Well, yeah,
So as
Commissioner.
presented, and then he said, with this elevation.
No.
He did say that.
He did say that, but Commissioner Giviahu made the motion, and Commissioner Woodtree seconded her motion. So her motion stands. Correct? Correct?
Which
Yes.
is,
Which is to approve.
To approve
as-
this site plan
as
approval as
presented.
presented.
As we see it now.
Okay.
Okay? So that's what we're voting on. All right, I'm going to call for the vote. Commissioner Black? Aye. Commissioner Scott Berman?
However,
No,
I can say that. No, however, I want it
I
on
will
the
take it as
record
an aye.
that my aye vote is only conditioned on this.
It doesn't matter, you voted aye. Commissioner Franklin?
Aye.
Commissioner Giviahu?
Aye.
Commissioner Witry? Commissioner Jeff Berman? Commissioner Matei? And I'll vote aye. Okay, so, in all due fairness to everyone, these cases, or this case, there's no relief.
There was a relief. from
Is there a
the
relief?
Driveway. The
Is
20
there
foot.
driveway?
We don't need to do a separate?
We don't have to do it separate. Okay. So this case still has to go before the Board of Trustees for final approval. And again, they meet on the first and third Monday of each month. And if you wish to be notified when that meeting will occur, please give us your email address and we will notify you. Okay. All right, moving on, we have a discussion on approval of future meeting dates in 2026. And Commissioner, and Director Lyon, will you?
No, I'm Director Nyden.
Nyden, excuse me.
We are presenting these dates for consideration. We made best efforts to try to reschedule or avoid any holidays or times that might be in conflict with meeting quorum.
Move the acceptance of the dates as presented. I'll second.
Okay. I'm sorry, that was Commissioner Witry moved. Who seconds? And seconds, okay. I'll call for the vote.
I have a question. I have never seen the dates.
We can answer questions, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go with questions.
It's in the
They're in the packet.
Where?
Last page. The last page of the packet.
So I believe, I don't have it in front of me, the dates are all effectively the first or, I think that's, boy.
You got Commissioner Black.
With the exception, so the first January meeting is like right after New Year's, so, or maybe it is New Year's Day. Yeah, it is New Year's Day. July 4th, Juneteenth, the day before Juneteenth. So we made best efforts to try to accommodate those holidays. Instead of, it's not very good practice to schedule a meeting and then put it on the calendar as canceled.
Yeah.
And then that's, because there are people who don't understand the observance of some of the holidays that we did have a meeting that was technically scheduled for a holiday, and we did get some rather
Gentlemen, please.
some rather insensitive feedback on why we wouldn't be meeting on that day, and we don't, that's not how we are in Skokie.
Okay.
I renewed my motion.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the dates?
You have.
You have, I thought you said you renewed.
I moved.
Oh, you renewed?
You renewed it.
Renew my moval.
Okay, got it, and Commissioner?
And I seconded it twice.
Okay, very good, thank you, thank you. I said that twice. Call for the vote, Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Scott Berman?
Aye.
Commissioner Franklin?
Aye.
Commissioner Giviahu?
Aye.
Commissioner Witry?
No.
Okay, Commissioner Witry, no. Commissioner Jeff Berman? Okay, Commissioner Matei? And I'll vote aye. Okay, thank you. On the meeting date of October 29th, which we have a training, I believe that we're asking people to be in person. There will be no Zoom available. Does anybody have a problem with that or a question? There won't be available on Zoom.
I will be out of town. Valerie made staff aware.
Okay, that's fine.
Same for me.
Everybody, it's safe for you as what? You're out of town? And, I'm sorry, Commissioner Matei, did you say you were gonna be here?
No.
You're not gonna be here, okay. All right, so, yes, Commissioner, you have a question? Go ahead. You'll be there. Anyone have a question on the meeting? Okay,
I did want to say something about the
Yes.
Zoom. Plan APA has sent out an announcement to all of us who get this planning magazine, which I think is everybody on the board,
yes.
that we can Zoom in for $25. So that's not available.
Just to clarify, the mayor sent a note and wanted appearance, plan commission, ZBA to come together and do it in person. But, yeah, and so there are, when people have declined and have, it is available. People have declined because they cannot do something because they're doing something else. If they didn't want to come to the Village Hall, we have made them aware that this is available if they would like to Zoom in on their own, but the mayor's emphasis was that she wanted to have a shared learning experience, so.
Okay. Any other discussions for the board? Nothing? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm sorry? I'm sorry, I forgot.
Non-agenda public.
Yeah, there is a non-agenda item under citizens' comments, and the podium is open for citizens' comments. You have 3 minutes, and your time will start after you give us your name. Well, let's clock reset. You all set? Okay.
Good evening again. Ken Marley, resident of Elm Terrace. I would just like to make a brief statement expressing exasperation with the village's site plan approval process. When we were here 2 years ago, village staff failed to identify deficiencies that should have excluded the previous submission from standard site plan review. Plan Commission rubber-stamped village staff's faulty approval recommendation despite meaningful community comments before this commission. The village board then rubber-stamped the Plan Commission's approval recommendation. Now that this proposal is going through the proper process, the energy that the neighborhood had for presenting the case for cooperative compromise is greatly diminished. It was sapped by the indifference of the village in 2023 and 2024 to consider that its own residents may have a meaningful contribution to design and review. And this commission again chose to ignore our requests for you to consider advocating for the residents. There was no discussion even about the points that the residents raised. Regardless, I and those with me tonight will continue our Sisyphusian task, encouraged somewhat by the improved responsiveness we have witnessed recently from the new village board. Good night.
Is there anyone else who should take advantage of the citizens' comments? None? Okay. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you for attending.